Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these coins then, shall we? And it's been a really boring day, I think you'll agree. Maybe some people looking for a continuation down, maybe some people looking for a bounce, but basically what we've got is a pretty much flat pancake non-day really. I mean, yesterday where we left off was I was saying that because I felt like the dollar had reached a top and was going to come down a little bit, and also we'd had quite a large move down for Bitcoin and alts especially, that we were likely to have a bit of an anemic bounce. And technically I suppose that's what we've had. I mean, if we look at this where we've come back up, I mean, it's an anemic bounce, a small bounce. I mean, that's Bitcoin is 2.4%, you know, but still, it's not much, is it? It's not much to write home about. But then, throughout all of this, so I suppose just in the last couple of hours, the DXY, which is the chart that we've been paying most attention to, the dollar index, that would be, has risen again, higher than I expected. I thought, well, yesterday, this is where we left off. I thought this is where the top was in at the Green 50 exponential, and I felt like we were probably going to come down to test lower levels. Now we haven't done that. We've actually popped up above the Green 50 exponential, showing me that actually the strength of this dollar now is gaining momentum, and that even though we've not had that drop, you know, a bigger drop yet, we're likely to get that drop. Now, if we look at the MACD on this chart, we're not yet in bullish territory. We're still beneath the 0 point, so technically, you know, these are big moves, but it's not enough to cause a rally. But the rally is looking more likely at this point. Now, let's not get too excited about this, because the chart is still very bullish. However, this is what generally would be, I suppose, ready for a pop. This is the sort of MACD situation that you'd get before a big pop, and I'm pretty sure that this pop will be pretty big actually, and that will cause the big dump. We've had more or less flat price action with a MACD that's moving up toward the 0 point pretty consistently really. So I think what we're waiting for now is for that to make that big move, and then the Bitcoin and crypto and traditional markets and commodities will all feel that punch, and then at that point, when this retraces again, when it rejects, then we buy. That's the plan. So again, you know, like I say, it's a very poor show. There's not really a great deal to look at on these charts. MACD hasn't yet made that negative cross, and again, you know, it's not looking very exciting either way. But when it comes to price action, we're in the blue box territory here, which is support and resistance. It was a resistance zone, and now it appears to be supporting and being resistance. So that zone starts at 10,360 and ends at 10,560. So, you know, a few $100 there of trading range, but not really anything to get excited about. And if we do break down from here, which we're likely to, we'll be seeing 10,000 flat, and then we'll talk about lower targets like the bottom area of this blue box territory, which also coincides with the 200 exponential moving average, which is just down here, and that's where I'd expect to see the bounce. The first bounce that would be. We'll see how we go from there and what the situation with DXY is. So let's move over to XRP and have a look at this one. So this one is currently riding the bottom of the Bollinger Band, really hanging on for dear life and being rejected from the 200 exponential. So really quite bearish. We've actually got that negative cross on the MACD there. It's not looking very good, and the RSI is pretty much going down to a very low level. This to me looks like it could just basically play this range from between 23 cent, which is the super resistance level, and I've said that on my channel for a number of weeks now. 23 cent it's holding on to that for dear life, and it needs to really, because beneath there is nothing but 20 cent really. Yes, there'll be little stumbling blocks along the way, but as soon as we break down beneath 23 cent, 20 cent is on the cards, and maybe a little tiny smidgen lower. But you know, none of this has yet happened, and again, until we've crept into the bullish control zone on the DXY chart, we're just going to be trading these small ranges. And for me, you know, the shorts were done yesterday, and now I'm not really trading anything. I had a little play on the FTSE today, but it didn't really work out, so stopped out on that one, and I'm feeling like I'm just going to allow this to mature like a mouldy piece of cheese, which is basically what it is at the moment. It's falling to pieces, it's rotting in front of our eyes, and we'll wait for the next big drop, or the indications for the next big drop, which I expect. You know, we might have a few little little bounces, and maybe Bitcoin could even rise to as much as, well, this 10 exponential moving average, which is pretty, it's down facing quite dramatically. So if it were to rise today, 10,700 max before rejection level, don't think it's got the energy to do that. And as far as XRP is concerned, I mean, we need to get above the 23.4 cent, which I doubt we'll get. We're talking 24.2 cent as an absolute toppers, and that would be today. The drop is, you know, it's, I would say, in many ways, I think it's imminent. It could happen any minute. But personally, I think it's going to take a couple of days maybe to mature and fall. But like I say, this could drop out the sky at any minute, really. But personally, I've done my trading from yesterday, and I didn't feel like it was worth trading anything today. No buys, because the bounce was always going to be poor. No shorts, because it doesn't look necessarily like it wants to go down much further today. But maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, we can look at making some big moves on this again, and that would likely to be to the downside for both of these coins. So XRP, Bitcoin, both of them looking bearish, they're looking weak. The downtrend is clearly still downtrending. But you know, when we're talking about big long-term targets for all of these, it makes it sound really dramatic when we're looking at the state of alts, which have lost such an incredible amount of their value. But with Bitcoin, not necessarily. Bitcoin's still, you know, above 10,000 for the moment, and is likely to bounce at 10,000. And you know, even if it does come down a little bit further, I'll be very surprised if we break down beneath this trend line. And again, this is a down-facing trend line, but if we broke down beneath there, it would be really bad. And I would at that point start to think of myself as a bit of a perma bear for a prolonged period of time. But that hasn't happened yet, and it might not necessarily happen. But until we start to take out these lower levels, and each one of these is a level within its own right, you know, we've just got to play the ranges, and we've got to stare at this boring old dollar chart. You know, always has to come back to the dollar for the minute. So this is my strategy, is to trade on the back of the strength of the dollar, and use that to gauge the weakness in other markets, especially cryptocurrency. So that's basically how I'm going to go about trading this. Looking to buy basically alts back rather than buying Bitcoin when we find a decent base. And again, you know, we're talking these levels here. Each time it touches these, we've got to see how dramatic the bounce would be. I expect that a $10,000 should find a decent bounce. But where would it bounce to? Probably the previous resistance box, if not the exponentials like the 10, depending on where that is at the time. So that would be the area to maybe go in for another long, or buy back some alts, for instance, for just a bounce, because we don't know how far it'll take us, and take profit where you can, and see how it takes us. Personally, the alt that I'll be looking to buy, not necessarily XRP. The reason I show this so frequently is because I know that there's a lot of people want to know about it, and also I do margin trade almost exclusively, really, XRP, because if you've not watched it, I've got a theory of the market cycle, and I want to accumulate as much of it as I can, especially at these low levels, because I do expect it to work out quite well in the end. And I'm not one of those super moon boys where I'm talking it's going to be worth hundreds of dollars. I mean, it certainly won't be worth hundreds of dollars, but I think we could probably do maybe a 20x from the levels we're at right now at the end of the bull run, you know, and that's just bringing us up to maybe $5 or just less than that. That's achievable, and that's my belief. You can call me crazy, but watch the video I did on analysing and breaking down the XRP market cycle, and then obviously leave a comment on there if you disagree with it. But I do put what I think is a relatively compelling case to why XRP is likely to make a big move in the end. But for the moment, it's all about accumulation, and that's why I focus mostly on XRP, because it's highly liquid, and its supports and resistances they're always quite reliable in many ways. So I like to trade it off the back of that. It's usually relatively easy to trade, because of all of that. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough. I'm going to leave it with you there, and I hope you have a nice day and a good evening. And subscribe if you're not subscribed, and take it easy. Thanks for watching.